Hello, everybody. What's up? What's going on? And welcome to the 80th episode of Raptors of One. So the Raptors have gone on a 3-game winning streak. That is encouraging. And we're finally, we're on the 500 level record. And, you know, it's a shame to say that this is a positive trend and we're going on the right track. We're ending the season on the right foot, because I don't know about any of y'all. If you guys thought otherwise, why don't you guys hit the comment section and let me know if you had a higher expectations for this squad, because I definitely had higher expectations for this squad. Even before the season started, I was watching the Rico Hines runs, and I get it. The Rico Hines runs, yes, they can be competitive, but they also don't necessarily dive into their full bag of tricks. And they definitely don't necessarily go 100%. Although, you know, some players like Scotty Barnes, obviously, he was going 100%. And I got to say, like, it was encouraging, especially when you have players like Paul George, James Harden, all-star players, all-star caliber players who are saying, hey, man, the Raptors players, the Raptors squad this year, they're going to be making some big noise. And Paul George, he said it straight up. He was like, if they don't make any noise and if they don't start the season off on a strong foot, I will be surprised. And it will be disappointing. Surely enough, that's just how the season went. But now part of it is also because of injuries and just players being put into different roles, having different expectations from the coach, but now it seems, and of course, the biggest hole being our center. Our center was the biggest hole, and now that we've filled it with Jakob Poeltl, that pretty much kind of completed our squad. I wouldn't necessarily say complete our squad, because I still feel like we need to have more depth on the bench. Our bench has been very, man, I don't even know how to describe our bench without being rude, but they've been crappy. They haven't been consistent. Some games, yes, they do show up, but for the most part, they've almost been non-existent. And that is why the starters have been having to play heavy minutes, even in this season, just like the last. And that's one of my worries, especially now, because it seems like we are a play-in tournament kind of a team, and that's just, 2, maybe 3 extra games that we have to play. And on top of when we eventually do make it to the playoffs. And then our road to the playoffs, because we are one of the bottom seeds, we're going to be playing possibly either teams like Boston, Milwaukee, or Philly. And it's not going to be a picnic. For now, we're on a 3-game winning streak. But what I've noticed from this 3 games winning streak is that we've beaten the teams that we should be beating. And again, the addition of Jakob Poeltl cannot be, I cannot overstate, or I cannot talk enough about how much of an asset Jakob Poeltl is. The things that he brings to the table. Ever since he came to Toronto, he's almost averaged a double-double almost every game. Some games he didn't, but it's the other intangibles that he brings. The defense, altering shots, shot blocking, ball movement. That was the biggest thing. The ball movement and IQ that Jakob Poeltl has improved on ever since he left the Toronto Raptors and went to San Antonio Spurs. Thank you again, Greg Popovich and the training staff of San Antonio. Thank you very much for giving us Jakob 2.0. Now, yes, he came at a cost, but I feel like what we have given up for Jakob is going to pay in the long run. And that's what, again, this is what I've been saying. And if you haven't watched any of my episodes from before, you need to check out my channel. And if you like the content, of course, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to check out my other content, like I've already mentioned, hit that subscribe button and join the Raptors in One family. You are more than welcome. But like I've always been mentioning, that we need to trust our GM, Okay, maybe not GM so much. We need to just trust Masai. Bobby just kind of, again, I don't know Bobby too well, and I feel like Masai behind the doors is still pulling his strings. I feel like that. But again, we got Jakob Poeltl, and that's definitely helped us out big time. Now our offense looks a little more fluid. Now our defense, we're starting to communicate more. We're starting to actually make the right switches. We're starting to recover better. Now, yes, there are times in the games that we have those lulls, those mental lapses. But at the end of the day, we're still doing pretty well with Jakob Poeltl. At least we know our inside is covered. Now we just need to focus on the perimeter defense. And that was displayed, I would say, honestly, it's been better of late. Now, the first two games in this winning streak that we've beaten teams like Detroit Pistons, again, the KC curse, no more, baby. Well, again, maybe I shouldn't speak too soon because there is the draft, and since they're a bottom feeder team, they could be having a crack at that Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. And knowing Detroit, I know for a fact that they're probably just going to go for Victor Wembanyama if they get that first draft pick. Regardless, right now, we've beaten the Detroit Pistons. We're good to go. KC curse is not a curse anymore for the season. Now we beat the Washington Wizards, and I get it. Kyle Kuzma wasn't there. Bradley Beal wasn't there. But again, these are the moments and these are the teams that you got to take advantage of, and you have to beat them, especially if you want a higher seed, at least in the play-in tournament. As encouraging and as expected as the wins against Detroit and Washington were, my main focus was on the Miami Heat team. And the reason why I'm saying that, and part of it is with my own lack of doing my homework, but I gotta say, I had circled that game not just because of Kyle Lowry, but also Jimmy Butler. And of course, Tyler Hero, he always goes off against the Raptors. So I figured this is a real litmus test. We gotta see how this team does. Now, yes, it was a good win. Yes, we beat the Miami Heat, but there was no Jimmy Butler. So it still stands. I'm still curious to see the ceiling of this team, especially when they make it to that big stage. Okay, the intermediate stage, which is the play-in tournament. Does it mean that we will face Miami? It is very possible. We could face Miami. We could possibly face Atlanta. We could possibly even be facing Brooklyn. And I feel like if our players have finally brought into their roles, they understand what's going on, they're comfortable where they are, I feel like this team is making it out of the play-in tournament. Now, I would have to wait and see how they do in the playoffs, depending on the matchup. Unfortunately, I wouldn't want to face any of the teams that we will have to face in the first round. But things can happen, injuries can happen, and, for some weird reason, maybe our bench will show up finally. Who knows? So we have to worry about the 5-game road trip that we got coming up because we have 2 contests against Charlotte. I honestly feel like we need to be beating this team because, come on, what does Charlotte have to play for? However, they seem to be playing, they did beat, I think they recently beat Boston or Chicago, I'm not entirely sure, but they did beat one of those teams. They beat Dallas Mavericks. So Charlotte has beaten Dallas Mavericks lately. So I don't know. I wouldn't take Charlotte too lightly. I think we just need to treat every game as Game 7. Just win the games. Solidify your standings in the play-in tournament, end the season on the right foot so you can bring that momentum into the play-in tournament, and hopefully you get out of the play-in tournament early enough so you can bring that same momentum into the playoffs. The next 2 contests after the Charlotte games are going to be against Boston. That's going to be a real test, unless Boston, for some weird reason, decides, let's just rest our star players. Even then, I wouldn't take the foot off our pedal. We need to beat the Boston Celtics. And finally, the last game, and this could very well be, if we make it out of the play-in tournament, a potential playoff matchup against Philadelphia 76ers. And this team, we've had history with this team in our championship run. That last shot by Kawhi, it still stings to this Philadelphia 76ers. It still stings Joel Embiid. And you rest assured, they're going to bring their A game. I just hope that we can bring our A game and we beat the Philadelphia 76ers. And before I sign off, I just wanted to mention that Will Barton, as excited as I was to acquire Will Barton, thinking, his 3-point shooting is going to boost us and it's going to spread the floor even more. And then he's also a proven perimeter defender. I honestly thought he was going to not necessarily bring instant impact, but I thought I was giving him at least like 3 or 4 games, considering he's a veteran. He should know his role. He's coming off the bench. But he's been underwhelming. And that's very alarming for me. I just really hope that these last 5 games he picks it up, especially if he gets the opportunity. Hopefully he picks it up. I know he is injured right now, but at least the end of the season ended on a strong note and bring that momentum over to the play-in playoff tournament. Will Barton, if you're watching this, which I don't know, we're probably not, but if you are, my man, I haven't lost hope on you. We need you. We need your expertise, your perimeter expertise, whether it's 3 points or defending the perimeter. We need it. Please bring it. Better late than never. That's all I got for today, folks. Again, if you like the content, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And, of course, hit the subscribe button to check out my other content as well for your viewing pleasure, of course. And if you have any comments, keep it respectful. More than welcome to share it. Until next time, I'm out.